These are 7 MLB players that have something to prove this upcoming 2025 season, starting off with Julio Rodriguez of the Seattle Mariners. Rodriguez was obviously one of the most highly touted prospects of the past decade, and rightfully so, as his skill set simply speaks for itself. His career thus far hasn't been a letdown at all, as he's been one of the better players in the sport during each of his 3 MLB seasons. However, Julio hasn't quite lived up to the superstar expectations that were set out for him, since he's coming off a 2024 season that included 20 homers, 24 stolen bases, and a .273 batting average. These numbers are great, but not superstar level. I think that 2025 will be very telling as Rodriguez enters his 4th major league season, and one that he will want to prove to the world that he's amongst the game's very best. He absolutely has the power and speed to reach a 40-40 season, and if he does that this upcoming year, he will without a doubt be regarded as reaching his full potential. 2025 will determine whether or not Julio is just a great player or a full-blown superstar. I'm willing to bet that the latter becomes true when this year's all said and done. Next up on the something to prove list is starting pitcher Gerrit Cole of the New York Yankees, who is coming off his worst season in the past 7 or 8 years. By no means was Cole poor in 2024, as he still posted a solid 3.41 ERA and managed to win 8 games in just 95 innings, but for the guy who's used to a sub-3 ERA, it was still surely a disappointment. The walk rate crept up and his chase rate absolutely plummeted, signaling some cause for concern for Cole going forward. He also happened to suffer an elbow injury before the 2024 season that limited him to just about half a season's worth of games. It's fair to wonder whether Cole has lost some of his elite skill set at the age of 34, and that's why 2025 will be such a big prove-it year for him. Is it the start of the inevitable decline for one of the past decade's best pitchers, or was it just a lost season caused by an early injury? It's notable that Cole's velocity has also dropped in 3 consecutive seasons, with a career low happening just last year. Cole will have to prove to the baseball world that he's still one of the premier arms in the game today. Moving on to the next player, I'm going with Matt McLain of the Cincinnati Reds, who's coming off an entirely missed 2024 campaign. McLain broke out onto the scene in his rookie 2023 season, flashing both power and speed with 16 homers, 14 stolen bases, in just 89 games after getting recalled. He's become somewhat of a forgotten man, having missed all of last year, and there's questions about whether his 2023 production was actually legit. The speed will likely remain constant, but will his .290 average and .357 on-base percentage stick this upcoming season, or will he regress? McLain had a ton of hype just 2 years ago, but it now seems to have slowly faded. This is a big year for McLain, as he has the opportunity to prove that his short 2023 was no fluke. He doesn't hit the ball particularly hard, and his high strikeout rate suggests that 2025 may not be a completely smooth ride. Regardless, McLain is full of talent that will be showcased all season long. I personally think that we see him put up around 25 to 30 homers, 25 stolen bases, and an average hovering around the .275 mark. The next player who I believe has to prove himself in 2025 is Toronto Blue Jay Bo Bichette, who is coming off the worst season of his career. Last year, he only managed to start 81 games, and that came with just a staggering 4 homers and 29 runs. Meanwhile, his .225 average and .277 on-base percentage go one step further in reflecting how much of a disaster his year truly was. Bichette also dealt with forearm, calf, and finger injuries that impacted his momentum every time he was reinserted into the lineup. Now healthy and entering a brand new season, Bo has a lot to prove both to himself and baseball fans around. This is a supremely talented guy that's still just 26 years old and has shown nothing but consistency since entering the majors in 2019. Entering a contract year this season, I'm definitely expecting Bichette to come out of the gate with extra motivation and honestly with a chip on his shoulder. We should expect Bichette to get back to his elite 300 average while also providing strong counting stats and what should be a much better lineup for the Blue Jays this year. Mike Trout of the Los Angeles Angels is the next name on my prove-it list for 2025, and the reason for that is pretty simple. Trout has yet to play over 120 games in a single season over the past 5 years. I don't think many people are questioning his performance, and when he's been on the field recently, he's still been very productive. What he does have to prove is that he can stay healthy for 140 plus games in 2025. As the saying goes, the best ability is availability, and Trout has been unable to match that saying for quite some time now. Some of his numbers did take a dip in 2024 with just a .220 average and .325 on-base percentage, but we also saw Trout run some, and his home run per game rate was still among the elite in the game. All eyes will be on Trout this upcoming season as he enters the year healthy once again, but will it remain that way? If he manages to stay healthy, he obviously has 50 homer upside, but he will have to play over 90% of the season to make that a possibility. Let's hope this year is the year that Trout finally puts all the questions to rest. One really interesting name for 2025 is Gerrit Cole, who just had an absolutely monster year that came out of nowhere. Once regarded as a top prospect almost a decade ago, Profar has had a very interesting career up until this point. He's always been a serviceable hitter, but he was never able to hit at even an all-star level. That changed last year when he posted an incredible 24 homers, 94 runs, and a .280 average, earning himself his first all-star bid. However, even after having himself a career year, Profar will have to prove that 2024 was for real after years of middling production on various different teams. All of the underlying data, such as his average exit velocity and chase and whiff percentages, reflect career bests, signaling that his numbers could carry over to Atlanta this upcoming season. Having just turned 32 years old recently, you would think that Profar would actually be facing a decline in his skill set, but it may actually be the opposite. I'm excited to see what kind of year Profar has in 2025. And this takes us to the final player on my 2025 Prove It list. I'm heading to the St. Louis Cardinals, and specifically former top prospect Jordan Walker. It's been a disappointing start to his career for Jordan Walker as he came up with a ton of hype in 2023, but the results have yet to match the expectations. His rookie season was actually respectable with 16 homers and a .276 average in 117 games, but he then followed that up with just 5 homers and a disastrous .201 average in 51 games last year. It seems as if nobody believes in Walker anymore, and yet he's still just 22 years of age. To me, he truly seems like a prime post-hype sleeper, and one that will likely receive a major opportunity to be a regular in 2025. His play discipline and quality of contact metrics must improve for him to reach his stride at the highest level, but the tools are there for him to do so. I expect Walker to put his name back on the radar this upcoming season, even if he doesn't set the world on fire. Of all of the players on my list, he may actually have the most to prove. Only time will tell. And that concludes the 7 MLB players that have something to prove this upcoming 2025 season. Let me know what you agree or disagree with in the comment section. And as always, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next one.